Hi, I'm Heather Quinn from Little Bird Yoga Studio, and I'm going to be showing a chakra 1, which is the root chakra down at the base of the pelvis, yoga therapy sequence for autoimmune disorders. So it's a combination of myofascial release with restorative poses. So I have a core block here for the myofascial release. I have this bolster here for the restorative parts. So what we're going to do with the block, which we'll do first, is we're going to lay on it in different parts of the body to help release the myofascial muscles and fascia from causing restricted motion of the body. We do this by laying on our blocks and breathing deeply, trying to open up both the breath and the myofascial systems of the body. And then, since it can be very energizing to do this type of work, we're going to do some restorative afterwards to help calm the body. So let's start with our first pose. So we are going to start with our block underneath the belly button. And so you can come down and kind of move around a little bit. We kind of want the block right at the sort of crest of the rib cage. And then we're going to just pause here. Well, you're going to hold here for about 2.5 minutes. We normally do this for 3 minutes. And let's just start with focusing on the breath. And you might notice right away that you feel that block sort of moving into the abdominal region really deeply. And we want to enhance that movement with our breath. And so the breath that's preferred to do with this is 4-6 breathing. So we inhale for 4 and exhale for 6. But this could be 2-3, it could be 1-2. And if you want to, if you feel comfortable, you can always bring the head down. And move around, kind of following how this feels in the body. We're going to bring the hands underneath our shoulders and then lift off the block. And I'm going to move this block over to the right side of the body. And what we're going to do is we're going to come down just on the edge of the rib. And breathing into this, you can always bring the opposite knee up into the outside. It's a little bit like a tipsy sphinx from yin, but with the block underneath us. And if the block is very uncomfortable, we can always use a towel. The other thing is I've padded the underside of my yoga mat with a Pilates mat so that it's less pain in general, because I can press the block into the dense mat underneath me. And same as before, you can bring the head down further. You can also move a little bit if it feels productive. And so one of the things is this is not always the most comfortable practice. And so sometimes the movement will help release tension from the body, but it's also possible that you might be chasing a particular sensation that, and sometimes it could be a painful sensation that helps release the tension from the body. Then we're going to release this side. So I'm starting with releasing the opposite knee and then coming off of the block on the right side, moving it off to the left side. So we don't want this all the way across the body. We just want it on those lower ribs. We can bring the right knee up to the outside. And once again, trying to find our breath, that 4-6 breathing. Because this can be so deeply energizing, doing this type of breathing, the 4-6, the 2-3, the 1-2, whatever the numbers are, that longer exhale helps to calm the body. And once again, maybe moving the head downward. It's always interesting to reflect on how the body feels in these poses. Maybe this side feels different. now releasing this side of the pose. We're going to do one more myofascial release. And so the first two that we've done are very much kind of where we start always on we using the block, and that's focusing on the breath. And then we're moving into the chakra 1 pose, placing this block on the hip flexor region, and then we'll bring the opposite knee out again. So I have the block underneath the right hip and the left knee off to the side. Let's start to move off of this side of the pose by bringing the left leg back in, and then we can roll to that left side, releasing the block. And then we'll roll to the right side, bringing the block underneath the left hip. And then we can bring the right knee off to the side, trying to find that spot where it's both comfortable and maybe a little uncomfortable, trying to find just a little bit of sensation that shows that we're doing some work in this region. And then, of course, resettling in with our breath, maybe laying down, maybe moving. We're moving off of this side of the pose. We're rolling onto the right side so we can release the block. And we're going to place this off to the side. We're moving into our restorative poses now. And I'm going to rotate around so that people can see my legs, because we're going to do some chakra 1 focused motions. We're going to start with placing the bolster underneath the knees. I can always pause the video and just relax for a moment here. We're going to do first a restorative figure 4 stretch, so we can pick up this right leg and place the right ankle on the left knee. You can stay here, so it's a nice gentle figure 4 to help us calm the body after doing all of the myofascial release, or you can bring the foot up onto the bolster, whichever feels most comfortable. And hands can be wherever they're most comfortable. Just making certain the body's relaxed, that we're not harboring any tension in our bodies. Or maybe continuing our 4-6 breathing, just allowing the body to relax more deeply. We're going to switch our feet. So once again, we have the option of having the foot on the bolster or bringing the foot down to the mat over the bolster. This provides a gentle variation. And we want to be mindful of our bodies. We have all of these different patterns for which we use our bodies, and one side likely does not feel the same as the other side. We have the asymmetries, and these are most obvious in our hips and our shoulders often. And so just giving our bodies a bit of grace to do this in a more relaxed way and do it differently on both sides so that we can take advantage of how the body feels on a particular side as opposed to how we think we should be able to do this pose on the other side. And now we're moving into our final pose. We're going to release the figure 4 stretch, bring both of our feet onto our bolster, and then opening up the knees for a reclining butterfly. Now, oftentimes using the bolster will help support the knees in this pose if they don't open up all the way, but we might still need blocks. And if that's so, feel free to place the blocks underneath the thighs. Continuing our deep and calming breath. We'll finish this pose by bringing our knees together. We can hug the knees to our chest if we would like to. And when we're ready, we're turning to our side for the fetal position, using our hands to help bring us up into a comfortable seated position. Taking our times, allowing our bodies to move slowly. We'll bring our hands up to heart center, connecting to our hearts. The divine in me recognizes the divine in you, and that means namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today for our Chakra 1 yoga therapy practice for myofascial release and restorative yoga, in hopes that it might reduce the inflammation in our body. Thank you again.